Good evening, everybody. So I've been spending some time off camera waiting for this ice to process, but something I did not think about when saying this was minimally functional is that if I'm standing here waiting for it to do stuff and I have no components because I'm still churning through ice, I have no way to replenish my suit energy. So as I was waiting here and my suit energy was running low, I decided, you know what, let's go ahead and record another episode. And we will record this episode by flying back to the base, doing something a little bit different, and converting our rover into a little cargo shuttle. There's not a whole lot of cargo space on the shuttle or on the rover, but it will serve a purpose. It will be useful for being able to transfer us back and forth without needing to use the jetpack, and transfer a little bit of cargo back and forth while we're at it. So first thing we'll do is recharge our suit energy since it's starting to get low. And the next thing we'll do is we will turn our connector piston back on because it was off to save power, remember? And we will reverse it up to 0 so that will lift our rover up off the ground. Ooh, no it won't. No it won't. Going the wrong way. I forgot. Pistons facing upwards. Reverse. So this is going to put it up to 2.5. Let's go ahead and put it up to 4, just so we got a little bit of room to work underneath it here. There we go. Now it's lifting it up. So yeah, we're going to convert this thing into a atmospheric cargo shuttle. Everything is connected here. So what I'm going to do is I am going to grind off the wheels and all of these armor blocks here, because these armor blocks are useful for getting the thing started, first of all, for sure. And when we had a gap here before we did our upgrades and put the ore detector and gyros and all that good stuff here, the cockpit wasn't actually connected to the battery, so it was keeping everything connected. But it's actually kind of a superfluous part if we're turning this into a shuttle. We don't have to worry about, bumping stuff on the ground quite as much. So we'll go ahead and just remove all this. I have not planned this episode, so the components aren't already, pre-made or anything like that. So we will have a little bit of, start the clock. So we will have a little bit of waiting and running back and forth here while we get the components we need cooked up. Hopefully we'll get some of them out of the wheels and suspension pieces that we're grinding down here. Oop, uh-oh. Did not want to grind down the cockpit. But hopefully that won't take too much time, and most of it can be spent on doing legitimate, useful work. Now, we don't have anywhere to park this on the rover yet. At some point we will. Uh-oh. That's not good. I accidentally hit the connector here. That is the disadvantage of doing the absolute minimum as far as components and welding is concerned, is that if you accidentally bump it, you will completely break it. So that's what just happened there, is we completely broke the connector and it dropped the rover. It's okay. It's okay. It's fine. It's definitely not ideal, but it'll be okay. Alright. Is it worth trying to reconnect this thing, or should we just start building? Let's make sure these meteors don't hit anything. had a couple of pretty close-looking calls with these meteors. I think it might be worthwhile to put up some turrets to shoot them down. You know what? I'm not going to worry about reconnecting the piston right now, or the connector right now. I'm just going to go ahead and put some jets on here. Go ahead and remove this stuff from the hotbar. We will need most of it back when we continue construction on the rover, but for the time being, the main thing that we need is atmospheric thrusters. I'm not actually sure we need anything else, but we definitely need atmospheric thrusters. See, now this is the problem, is that we're clipped into the ground here, so we can't actually attach those. We can attach them at the back, though. Now, with cargo in here, this starts to get pretty heavy, so I am going to go ahead and put 2 on the back. The other advantage to putting 2 on the back now is we can go ahead and start this up, and it'll float on just these 4 since it's empty at the moment. And we'll be able to get it reconnected. Oh, and the weight will help too. So that's down and forward. Can we fit this on now? Yes, we can. It won't attach there because that isn't actually an attachment point on the cockpit, and you can't attach things to the side of the conveyor either. But 1 on each side here will be fine just to balance this out some. And of course we can't fit it there because of the way the ground is oriented. That's alright. Make do. Where can we attach this? Nowhere. Alright. We can go ahead and just put an armor block on each side here to pad it out and give us an attachment point. And that's reverse. Now we just need our 2 sides. And they don't quite fit here, I don't think. Yes, they do. Yep, they'll fit there. So side to side will definitely be a little bit weak, but that's alright. Side to side is probably one of the least important directions that we have to worry about. Alright, now let's see what we have in terms of components on us from all the grinding we did. Alright, that's everything. So we need some construction components, a bunch of motors. Do we have anything finished? No. Okay. So how many engines do we have? There's 6 in the front and 6 in the back. So we have 12 engines altogether. I'm just going to make a bunch of stuff to start with. See what we have in the cargo container. Nothing useful. We don't need interior plates. And it looks like we don't need any more of those small steel tubes either. So I'm going to make 20 small steel plates. I'm going to make 100 motors because they're 18 motors a piece, and that's over 100. That's 108, I think. No, it's more than that. It's more than that. So we'll definitely use that many at least. I think we need a couple of large steel tubes still. We need construction components. We need a decent number of construction components. And again, construction components are used in just about everything. So if we make extra of those, it's not a big deal. So we'll go ahead and grab the steel plates that we have. See how many we need once we pop all these in. And I am going to go ahead and fully build these. I think I fully built everything else. No, I didn't fully build everything else. Well, I'm going to go ahead and fully build these. I'm not going to worry about messing around that because it's 2 construction components and 1 steel plate is with the extra bits at the top. So we're not talking about a whole lot of parts and resources here. I'm just going to go ahead and throw it in. It's more trouble than it's worth, frankly, half the time to worry about that. Alright, so that's all the steel plates in. And we have 3 left over. They will be used. And now we'll grab the motors that we have. Start sticking those in. We are going to need metal grids. 1 per engine, so that's exactly 12. We got a bunch of them over on the Rover, but those are for large cargo containers, so we're not going to use those. And I'm going to go ahead and throw these to the front of the line, because once we get some of these done, we'll be able to complete a couple of our engines and get this thing back up off the ground. Now our battery is switched in recharge mode, so none of these are turning on right now. And that's fine. That's actually what we want, because otherwise they would just be wasting power. We need construction components to finish that one up. Go ahead and throw the rest of our bits in around here. That's done.
Meteor storm inbound.
We're gonna get hit one of these days. The odds are not in favor of being hit by meteors unless you're taking up a whole lot of space. You can only rely on odds for so long. Looks like those aren't gonna hit. Those are gonna be fine. That one was concerning. Alright, looks like it's mostly just construction components and a couple of motors. We've got one more metal grid in here. Where does that one go? Do I have an extra? Oh yeah, I do have an extra because the front engine isn't on here. Okay. So it's not exactly an extra. That's just not been placed yet. And we're going to need all of these, and we're going to need a few more motors. And some more construction components. Didn't quite make enough. That's probably still not enough. Still not enough motors either. I'm pretty sure this is the only real change that we need to get this thing running as a atmospheric flying ship instead of a rover. I think we're going to need a few more construction components than that too. I want to get these side-to-side ones working, as well as this reverse working. Oh, I got that reverse. Okay, I can reverse, and I've got one of the front ones. So once the side-to-side ones are working, I can actually lift this back up onto the connector, and that's slightly a priority, because then we'll be able to actually place our other engine that we still need. Six more motors still. And we need 18 for the other one, so go ahead and make a bunch. And that should be our other side thruster. Alright, so we've got the sides, we've got one reverse, we've got 3 down, and we've got 1 forward. So, okay, we should have enough to get us back up on the connector. So we'll turn the batteries back on. And we're up. Excuse me. We turned the gyros off. And they're numbered incorrectly. There we go. There we go. Now we're locked back on. Actually, I do want to switch the battery back into recharge mode. There's no point in running down that battery when we've got power elsewhere. So now what do we still need? We still need 14 motors there. Is that it? Yeah, 14 motors there. Need another engine on the front. We need some steel plates. We need 3 steel plates. Some of which to actually place it. Luckily 3 is exactly the number that we have. I don't remember if there are any small steel tubes in this, so we'll go ahead and grab them. There's not. Alright, so we need 18 plus 14, 22, 32. 32 more motors. We have 24, so we need another 8. Alright, there's our other downward thruster. We got 2 more here. And that is construction components. There's 22 there. There's 12, 14 there. And none here. Yeah, those are all in. 22, 14. We can go ahead and put these away. We're done with them. We're done with these. Grab these. Go ahead and just do 30 construction components there. Now we're holding 6. How many we got? We got 8. Need more than that for that one. Need construction components for that. Construction components for that. Alright, so we got the motors there. We need 10 more motors there. And 14 more motors there. So 24 more motors. Grab our construction components while we've got them. That one's done. Still need some more for that one. We need 4, 6 there. And we got all those. Just go ahead and wait for these. They won't be too long. There we go. There are definitely prettier ways to put the side-facing engines on, probably. But I'm not going to worry too much about that right now. Alright. There we go. She's done. Let's see if there's anything worthwhile we can pick up off of the rover while we're out. First of all, we will refill our hydrogen tank. Oh, can't do that from the cockpit because this is too big to fit through the small conveyor ports. The only thing you can get through small conveyor ports are ores, ingots, and I think ammo. But our hydrogen tank here is full, completely full. Oh, I'm looking for the thing at the top. So the ice here is useless. The ice that we still have here is not doing us any good. I mean, it's helping a little bit because it'll refill the tank when we refill our bottle. But I'm just going to go ahead and take the rest of what we've got here and take it out to the rover. And I think I could have used some interior plates and construction components to at least get a passenger seat out there. So I'm going to make some of those. We are self-sufficient eventually, but since we can't get to any ice, or I'm sorry, since we can't get to any stone due to the amount of ice that we've picked up already, until we get through processing some more of it, I'm going to go ahead and grab some components here just so I can... Oh, we need some extra computers too. Maybe. Because what I was thinking is either a passenger seat or a button, or both, ideally. We got room for this much stuff. So with all this stuff, we can, in between that and stripping down the remote control that we don't really need since we're not going to be moving it anytime soon, we can put a passenger seat and a button on. The button will allow us to turn the drills on and off without going through the terminal. And the passenger seat will allow us to refill our suit energy without coming back here. So grab all that stuff. Jump in here. Turn the battery back into auto. And disconnect the connector. Something that might have made sense to put on here would be landing gear. At least one, just to clamp us down somewhere. There's our rover from the air. Looks pretty cool. I'm happy with it. So we'll just set it down nearby. and flip the battery off. Actually, I forgot there was a couple of more armor blocks that we need to saw off here on the bottom. And we need to do this carefully. We don't want to damage any of these components now. There we go. Now we'll set it down. Flip the battery off. And that will just sit there, resting on its engines, which is very reassuring. They can't actually handle that. We didn't bump them too hard landing, so that's fine. They can just wait. We just have to make sure we move it before we move the rover. Let's see how we're doing with what we've got in here. Battery's still full, which it should be. Hydrogen engine is full now. Go ahead and throw the ice that we picked up. Oh, we're accessing a battery, so of course we can't do that. Throw the ice we picked up into the O2H2 generator. What else do we have in here? We still have 882,000 ice. So yeah, this is going to take a little bit to churn through. So we definitely want somewhere to sit while we wait. Now this is temporary. We are going to remove this. Actually, I picked up some steel plates from grinding that stuff off. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the passenger seat where we will eventually want the flight seat. So that's where the ore detector is going to go, and that's where the flight seat will go. So the passenger seat can go there. So now we can sit comfortably and relax with a fully charged fully charged suit while we wait for things to happen. Like I said, I can also grind down that remote control block and put up a button panel to start and stop the drills. But what I actually did, so this isn't entirely necessary, what I did is I created a group here that has the drill rotor, the drill pistons, and the drills themselves, which are now hidden. All the drills. So when I turn this block on, the drill will start spinning again, the drills will start running again, the pistons will start extending again. And we can just turn this on and off as we fill and empty our cargo to keep us moving here until we get a little bit further along. Or I could set up a button panel, or I could set up a control on the remote even, as it is now, because you can access the, well, I have to turn on the antenna first, because the antenna is turned off. But now I can access the remote control. You see I set up two different groups there for the drills and the drill pistons, but I can also have just one item on the hotbar for all of it. So if I press 3 right now, which I'm not going to do because I already have a bunch of cargo, if I press 3 right now, it would start the drill back up again and then stop it if I hit it again. Anyway, that's all for today. Just a quick thing of redesigning that rover. I'm going to continue churning through this ice and hopefully get far enough along on that by the time I'm ready to make the next episode that we can actually do some stone and continue construction on this rover. So thanks for watching. Please subscribe to see what happens next. Likes and comments are appreciated. Verbal abuse is accepted. And I'll see you next time. Bye.